Here's an upcoming anniversary you probably haven't thought about. It's been almost a century since the Scopes monkey trial. In the summer of 1925, the state of Tennessee arrested and convicted a high school teacher for the supreme crime of teaching his students evolutionary theory. But that's all in the past, right? A footnote from a bygone era of superstition. Well, maybe not. Because this week, Tennessee has become ground zero in the conservative war on education, after remarks from a closed-door gathering came to light.
If you work in a college, you'll know this, unless you work in the ed department. Ours is different, but they're the dumbest part of every college. Teachers are trained in the dumbest parts of the dumbest colleges in the country, and they're taught that they're going to go and do something to those kids.
Who was that speaker who got laughs for calling teachers and education departments dumb? That's Larry Arnn, perhaps one of the most influential conservative educators in the country. He later said that he wasn't calling education departments unintelligent, but rather just ill-conceived or misdirected. Much better, right? Arnn is the president of Hillsdale College in Michigan, a politically conservative school that Justice Clarence Thomas called a shining city on a hill, and that, oh, by the way, also hired his wife, Ginny, to launch its Washington campus during the Obama years. On Arnn's watch, Hillsdale created Donald Trump's 1776 curriculum, a conservative spin on U.S. history meant to counter critical looks at our national heritage. And now, Arnn is also pushing to create a national network of charter schools aimed at fighting, quote, progressive and leftist education, and focusing instead on, quote, the centrality of the Western tradition. The mission was apparently appealing enough that Tennessee's Republican governor, Bill Lee, announced that he would launch 50 of Arnn's charter schools in his state. In June, Lee and Arnn appeared at a closed-door event. The national CBS affiliate, WTVF, released clips from hidden camera footage of that event. Those clips show Lee sitting on stage next to Arnn as Arnn trashed public education.
Education destroys generations of people. It's devastating. It's like a plague. We're going to try to demonstrate that you don't have to be an expert to educate a child. Because basically anybody can do it.
Anybody can do it. Well, the condemnation of those comments belittling teachers has been swift from Republicans and Democrats in the state. When asked by reporters about the comments, Governor Lee declined to criticize Arnn. But this is the Republican playbook on education now. From blasting COVID precautions to slamming critical race theory, to banning books, to targeting gays, lesbians, and trans people, right-wing groups are vilifying public educators as radical leftist brainwashers and empowering Republican state houses from Nashville to Austin to Tallahassee to whittle away at public schools until they're all but gone. And here's where I tell you that former Trump Education Secretary Betsy DeVos, you remember her, whose family gives generously to Hillsdale College, spoke last week before one right-wing activist group in Florida. You'll never guess what she said.
I personally think the Department of Education should not exist.
Gloves and the masks are off. So nearly 100 years after the Scopes monkey trial, what are Democrats prepared to do about this new conservative war on education and teachers? I'm joined now by a fellow veteran of President Obama's cabinet, John King, a former Secretary of Education, who's also running tonight in the very crowded Democratic primary for Maryland governor. Secretary King, thank you for taking time out of your schedule to join us. Now, you're not just the former education secretary, you're also the son of a guidance counselor. Your father was one of the first black principals in New York City's history. Your wife was an elementary school teacher. When you hear those hidden camera comments by Larry Arnn, what's your reaction?
Well, first, great to see you, Secretary Castro. Look, what you see in the comments from Arnn is really the continuation of an assault on public education by right-wing conservatives. These comments attacking teachers are consistent with their message of attacking teachers for teaching the truth about our history, attacking teachers for teaching authors like Toni Morrison. It's really an effort to undermine public schools.
Now, Larry Arnn actually defended those comments in an op-ed for USA Today. He said he didn't mean to disparage teachers, and then he added, quote, "In America today, most of education is ruled by a cold, life-draining web of bureaucracy, the blueprints of which were brought over from Europe and activated during the wave of progressivism that swept over the United States in the early 20th century." So is he right? Has public education just been an experiment in leftism for the past 100 years?
He's got it exactly wrong. Look, public education is at the foundation of the health of our economy and our democracy. You know, I'm only alive today because of the role public schools played in my life. When my parents passed away, my mom when I was 8, my dad when I was 12, it was public schools that saved me. So many of us have had the opportunities we have because of public schools. And that's why this attack from the right is so dangerous.
We also know that charter schools have been expanding rapidly for a generation, but something feels different now. Hillsdale College already has established 24 charter schools in 13 states with the help of governors like Tennessee's Bill Lee and Florida's Ron DeSantis. At the same time, the Hillsdale president is calling public education a plague. And a former education secretary, Betsy DeVos, says the education department shouldn't exist. Is this an existential threat to public education?
Unfortunately, I think this right-wing attack is an existential threat. It's really an attempt to get rid of public education and replace it ultimately, I think, with voucher schools. That's their real agenda. We have a small voucher program here in Maryland, which I very actively oppose because I think it's a mistake to send public money to private schools. In this case, I think charter schools are being used as a Trojan horse for this privatization agenda. Now, it's important to say that there are public charters that are doing a good job creating alternative options for kids in career and technical education or the arts or a Montessori school with good public oversight. But that's not what we're talking about here. This is the use of the charter law to attack public schools.
Well, we've been told by a lot of pundits that attacking critical race theory and school mask mandates helped get Glenn Youngkin elected there in Virginia, not too far away from you in Maryland. And we watched Donald Trump push a revisionist 1776 curriculum for kids whose development was overseen by Hillsdale College's president, Larry Arnn. How much of this is a political tactic to help Republicans scare and court suburban moms?
And this is very much a tactic to try to generate enthusiasm from the conservative base. We're seeing this here in Maryland. There are 2 Republican candidates for governor. Both of them have made attacking public education a part of their message. One of my opponents, Kelly Schultz, talks about this idea of a parent bill of rights, really echoing the language of the Youngkin strategy. And look, this is undermining our commitment to the truth. You know, this morning when I cast my ballot, I did so less than 25 miles from where my great-grandfather was enslaved in Gaithersburg, Maryland. That's real. That happened. The cabin my great-grandfather lived in as an enslaved person is still standing on the property. It's tremendous that in 3 generations, my family has gone from enslaved in that cabin to being on the ballot to be the next governor of Maryland. We have to celebrate that progress, but we also have to share the truth that slavery, segregation, redlining have shaped so many of our present challenges. And this effort on the right is really to undermine that truth-telling and to replace it with right-wing culture wars.